Ruto, a slum dweller, routinely broke into wealthy people's junkyards to steal things. He must, however, battle giant garbage-made monsters to ascend back up and exact justice after being wrongfully convicted of his foster father's murder and consigned into the pit where all of the world's waste ends up. Our globe is divided in two sections. On the one side, we have the ideal city where the wealthy are having a great time. In addition, he and hundreds like him reside in the shantytowns. The only thing that never changes is that all waste, including criminals, eventually ends up in the same pit. It is generally known that wealthy city inhabitants willfully toss away even slightly damaged things. This is akin to when a mother instructs her daughter to throw away a brand new puppy toy because it grew messy. She tells her that if they try to mend this one and it becomes unsightly, they can simply acquire a new one. The girl doesn't have to worry since her mother simply puts the dog and all the other trash down the small garbage vent that leads to a car in a tunnel that finishes at a huge landfill. The small boy, Ruto, is also at the rubbish pickup spot, buying things off the trucks. He sneaks inside one of the rooms at the garbage collection site, but regrettably, a guard hears a noise coming from the room and swiftly turns to discover someone looking through the waste. The guard calls Ruto, the trash thief, a hideous degenerate who is damaging the city's beauty by stockpiling trash, and he enters the room waving his gun. Ruto hears those things every Tuesday, so he doesn't even reply to this. The guard then seeks for assistance by ringing the alarm. When additional guards show up, Ruto throws some trash bags at them. Since the clean freaks are unable to handle raw eggs on their uniform, they do nothing except watch him climb up the vent. The gate closes on Ruto's face as he emerges from the vent near to the exit. At that moment, extra guards come. Let it burn. I am the menace. What a bunch of people blame the slum dwellers for the rubbish raider tale that circulates across the city the next day. Since Ruto has previously visited the trash collection sites, the slum occupants on the opposite side of the wall know exactly who to blame. They believe that one day he will be arrested, and the majority of them really hope that he does. As he opens his business to sell the fixed objects he uncovered, Ruto seems nonchalant about them. He says that those wealthy bastards don't even care about throwing away perfectly fine stuff when his pal Chiwa shows up to shout at him and asks him why he takes such a tremendous risk simply to scrounge amid the city inhabitants' waste. He is sorry for the items people discard. He retrieves them, and it's even better since he can sell them and make some money. Chiwa appears to comprehend him. However, three gentlemen arrive up at that very moment, squeezing their noses and declaring that someone here smells like trash. Chiwa is told to avoid Ruto since she would also smell like trash. They ridicule his thick black gloves, which he hasn't washed since Obama was president, and claim that their simple touch can cause harm to anyone. Declaring that no one will purchase this trash from him, one boy kicks the light that Ruto just fixed. He covers them because he thinks Ruto's hands are even more spooky than the gloves. Ruto listens to all they say without comment. However, he becomes outraged when a boy refers to him as the son of a killer. But the lads don't let up, arguing that the slum was established as a penitentiary for criminals and that the current residents are their descendants. They consistently endeavor to keep a clean reputation because of this. However, Ruto's father dishonored them by turning into a killer. Ruto gives the boys the death glare since he can no longer bear the taunting, and they instantly go away. Still calling Ruto insults and suggesting that he will one day follow in his father's footsteps and commit murder. Then, in silence, Ruto begins mending the lantern once more, and Chiwa tells him that she feels he is a good guy who will never become like his father. Hearing that makes him feel humiliated. Chiwa's focus switches to the dog toy he picked up from the trash last night before he can express gratitude to her. As it happens, Ruto initially brought the puppy as a gift for her. However, Chiwa's mother arrives and removes her before he can give it to her and boost his risk score. After that, Ruto returns home to find Regto, his adopted father, waiting for him. Ruto gets scarlet because he didn't notice him studying them, and Reto instantly begins to recreate how anxious he was when attempting to give the puppy to Chiwa. Regto assures him that since they must first discuss Ruto's quick excursion to the junkyard, they will discuss it later. Reto informs him that since they are not too broke, he doesn't need to exert himself as much. Because Ruto adopted him after his original father was cast into the abyss for murder, he believes that Ruto feels somewhat obligated to him. Ruto, however, claims such is not the case. He informs Reto that he views him as family and that he is only doing his share. Ruto fumbles violently, hurting the pistol wound from the previous night, as Reto only tells him to be thus honest with Chiwa. In addition to changing the bandages covering his hands, Reto starts administering first aid to him right away. Ruto remembers how his hands have been hurt for as long as he has known them. He was constantly criticized for it, and occasionally his wounds suddenly became excruciatingly painful. Reto then gave him the black gloves one day, which magically stopped the suffering. When Reto has finished dressing Ruto's injuries, he warns him that if he doesn't confess to Chiwa right away, someone else might take her away. A spooky man with a mask listens to everything from the streets as the two of them are joking about it. The following day, Ruto finds the confidence to tell Chiwa how he feels and takes the puppy to her house. However, he encounters a situation that is not very uncommon in the slums while traveling. There is a pit at the outskirts of the slums where all trash and serious offenders are dumped. Ruto can only watch as another criminal is tossed into the pit today, wondering what will happen to those who are within. Ruto panics because he wasn't prepared to see her yet, and Chiwa arrives at that moment, stating that it is a very cruel sight. Chiwa abruptly begins discussing the executions and other topics. She then informs Ruto that she does not wish for him to be cast into the abyss. Although there may be a lot of things that should not be thrown away as trash, she claims that this is not a good enough cause to put his life in danger. Chiwa responds that it's because Recto loves him too, to which Ruto responds that Recto stated the same thing. When Chiwa says that Recto loves him too, Ruto takes a moment to comprehend that Chiwa is implying that she loves him. His brain has 2 megabytes of random access memory. When she realizes that her statements could be construed that way, she becomes agitated, but Ruto has already gone insane. Clutching his face, he collapses on the ground and hands the puppy toy to Chiwa, stating that she might not want it because it was discarded. However, he believed she would make the dog happier. He is thrilled when Chiwa accepts the toy and declares she will treasure it. Ruto is also more content than ever. On his way home, he leaps and dances because he feels compelled to brag about it to Reto right away. He encounters some guards along the road who don't even bother to talk to him, but he wonders why they are in the slums. In any case, as soon as he opens the door at home, Ruto begins to tell Reto what happened. However, he is shocked to see Reto on the ground with a spooky man wearing a mask on top of him. After turning around to give Ruto a quick glance, the masked man drives his knife further into Reto's body. Upon witnessing this, Ruto loses his temper and rushes at the masked man, only to be struck so severely that he is knocked unconscious. The mysterious killer has completed his task by the time Ruto awakens. He grabs a book off the ground and goes outdoors, giving Ruto a quick glance as he tries to follow him. Then he hears the voice of Reto. Somehow, Reto is still alive. And while he is dying, he orders Ruto to flee. Ruto goes beside him right away and assures him that assistance will be provided. However, Reto simply advises him to flee and make this shithole of a world better. After that, Ruto is unable to comprehend what is occurring, and Reto's body goes slap. The troops show up at that precise moment and zap Ruto because they think he is the culprit. They inform him that he is being arrested for murder while pinning him to the ground. Ruto then explains that it wasn't him. The guards inform him that since they caught him red-handed, nothing he says will matter anymore. The guards don't even want to listen to him, so they simply punch him in the head to knock him out. He keeps trying to explain that the real murderer has just left the house and they can still capture him. Ruto is soon brought to the scaffold to be put to death for his crimes. He is tossed into the hole, and everyone from the slums is there to watch. Some well-known figures from the main metropolis are also present. The court informs Ruto that one of the most serious offenses a person can commit is murder. Furthermore, the punishment will not be lessened even though he killed a simple slum person. He throws Ruto into the hole and declares him dead. And when others hear this, they begin to cheer. Ruto is still in shock that he is experiencing this. And he hopes that only one person will think he is not a murderer. His gaze moves across the throng before settling on Chiwa. Declaring that he did not kill Ruto screams at her. She just responds that she trusted him but that he wasn't deserving when he asks her to track down the criminal. She turns her back on him, dumps the toy, and declares that he was ultimately a murderer's son. Ruto is so devastated by her betrayal that he lashes out at those who call him human dirt deserving of being cast into the abyss. Since they are merely meat lumps without a brain or a will, he claims that they are the true filth in this place. When he suddenly realizes that the murderer is also present in the throng, he makes a vow to send them all to hell. However, he is flung down the edge before he can tell anyone about it. At one point, Ruto loses consciousness after feeling as though he had been falling indefinitely. Fortunately, his landing is broken by all the trash at the bottom of the pit, and he is totally uninjured when he awakens. When the stink of the area suddenly hits him, he asks himself, what the hell is going on, and how am I still alive? The scent must be blocked even by the trash thief. Then he sees the enormous ocean of trash in front of him, coupled with unfamiliar objects. Rudd questions, what the hell is this place, as a huge shadow suddenly envelopes him. When he turns around to see what's happening, he is astounded to discover a huge garbage-made monster pointing its fangs at him. When Ruto first sees the creature, his thoughts briefly go blank. He also remembers how he always thought it was odd that everyone was so preoccupied with disposing of trash and human waste in the pit. However, nobody ever gave a damn about what truly transpired with them below. More than anything else, he found it bothersome that they didn't even consider what else might be at the bottom. But as soon as the enormous creature approaches him, he instantly loses it and begins to flee for his life. When the monster roars loudly and more creatures emerge from the trash pile, things abruptly get worse. They begin to pursue Ruto, who runs as quickly as he can, but it is all in vain since he is eventually caught. He questions the nature of these monsters and whether they are merely self-moving rubbish heaps. He somehow avoids the monsters' attacks when they suddenly leap on him. He realizes his impending doom when he tries to flee but trips and falls directly on top of a human skull. Ruto swears at the idiots who threw him to the bottom of hell. The pile of trash he was standing on suddenly collapses. Ruto soon finds himself at the base of a cliff, which protects him from the creatures. However, he is being killed by something else. He understands that the air here is very poisonous. Additionally, his lungs will be ripped apart if he breathes it for an extended period of time. In an attempt to locate a hiding spot and recuperate, he puts his gloves over his mouth and nose. He then abruptly understands that there could not even be a safe place in this horror. As he starts to lose hope, he suddenly throws up blood, which draws the creatures back to him. Ruto collapses to the ground, immobile, and is on the verge of accepting his fate when he suddenly remembers Reto's dying body. Ruto is unaware of the odd power that suddenly bursts through his hands. But then he notices that his vision is altering and that lights are emerging from the iron pipe in front of him as well as from the trash piles. Ruto creeps in its direction, determined to live since he has a purpose. Declaring that he will return to the surface and get revenge on the people who placed him here as well as the bastard who killed his father, he picks up the iron pipe and stands up. He begins to feel angry, and the monsters take advantage of this opportunity to approach him. However, Ruto doesn't even stop to look at it as one of them attacks him, he just uses the iron pipe to smash it away. Another pit inhabitant, who is shocked that someone who can battle the monsters has come here, is hit by Akin's umbrella as he flies away from the attack. Ruto, meanwhile, has lost his mind from battling the beasts. He continues to hop around, unconcerned with the blood running down his nose or the toxic air. Furthermore, he doesn't appear to be seriously hurt even after being slammed into the enormous rocks at high speed. He is buried in debris after a monster crushes the rock he was stuck on. Ruto, however, exits and carries a pole with him. The monster takes a lot of damage as he swings it with all of his strength, but then another monster appears from directly beneath him. Ruto manages to leap clear of its teeth, but the effects of inhaling the toxic air eventually catch up with him. When he starts spitting blood once more, the monsters take advantage of the opportunity to approach him. Fortunately, his enigmatic power emerges once more, providing him with the strength and insanity to maintain his position despite being attacked simultaneously by two creatures. Ruto safely exits the collision and cuts the first monster's skull with a metal sheet. The second monster is then attacked by him, which causes it to explode after he slashes it in half. After that, he takes a rest, but then a second enormous creature approaches him. Ruto makes the decision to flee and gather his strength as soon as he sees it. However, the creature uses all of its strength to stamp on the earth, sending forth a shockwave that drives him away. But as Ruto opens his eyes, he is startled to see a man standing on top of him in a spooky mask. He wants to know who this guy is and where he's from. However, the man kicks him in the front and abruptly raises him up. Ruto coughs up blood and is ready to throw his hands when the man quickly covers his face with a gas mask, reviving his breathing. Now that he is so perplexed, Ruto asks the stranger if he lives nearby. He wants to learn more about this location and its beasts, but the man in the mask only requests that he keep quiet. Ruto keeps questioning him about this place aloud, even though it is obvious that someone with only one digit cannot understand commands. Once more, the man with the mask begs him to stop talking, but Ruto instructs him to speak more clearly. The masked man finally loses it when he inquires as to whether they are underground. He shouts at Ruto, forgetting his own counsel, that they are not beneath but rather above ground, and that the residents of the top are to blame for making this area into a hellhole. He then explains to Ruto that the enormous trash monsters are drawn to noise and have now spotted him because he hasn't stopped talking. According to the masked guy, regular weapons are insufficient to battle the trash animals. Their best option was to leave covertly, but they are no longer able to do so. By this time, a monster is reaching behind them, and the man in the mask chooses to deal with it first. Suddenly, a golden energy shoots from his arm, coating his umbrella and turning it into a weapon. The masked man uses his umbrella like a portable blender to grind away the monster as it attacks them, simply swirling it in its face. The fragments of the creature abruptly dissolve to dust and tumble away everywhere. The weird power-up previously caught Ruto off guard, but now he's even more intrigued by the fact that the monsters aren't recovering from this attack. At that moment, a massive swarm of creatures shows up. However, the man with the mask is sure he can handle them all. He rushes in the direction of the monsters, uses his umbrella's blades to quickly blast them up, and then leaps up using the umbrella as a parachute. Ruto questions whether this technology is exclusive to the masked man or if it is something that the people in the pit use. The last huge monster abruptly spit a ball of acid at the masked man as he drifts in front of him. Using his umbrella to block and disperse the acid, he causes it to dramatically explode when it strikes the trash spots. The masked man then leaps higher by using the monster's head as a base. He then increases the size and destructive force of his umbrella by pouring more energy into it. With that, he lunges for the monster's head, slicing through both him and the earth. Who the hell is he, wonders Ruto as the masked man returns to him after finishing that. After taking off his disguise, the man identifies himself as Injin, a straightforward cleaner. However, he regrets his choice the very next second due to the sickening air. Ruto falls after Injin curses him for forcing him to remove his mask. He has a dream about a childhood occurrence when he is unconscious. He had come home after the other lads had shoved him into the sewer and harassed him because they didn't believe him when he said that items were alive. Ruto denied hitting the boys back when Reto questioned him about it. When Reto stated that a soul will eventually reside in an object that is handled with care, he was asked if he was speaking the truth. He said that the story was merely an old legend to help people value what they had while Reto washed him up. However, he liked to think that everything had a soul. When Ruto heard this, his curiosity heightened, and he inquired as to whether his gloves and other items in their home also possessed souls. Reto just said that they would eventually have a soul if he gave them proper care. That's when Ruto abruptly awakens from his dream, only to see Injin dragging him while he's tied. Ruto curses him and orders him to release him, but Injin responds that he is merely escorting him to a secure location. Ruto wants to go back up and exact his retribution, therefore he no longer cares about it. However, those words cause Injin to halt. He informs Ruto that it is impossible to ascend back to the location known as the sphere, which is essentially in the sky and is always moving. He drags him to a clearing in a canyon that is 100 times cleaner than the surrounding area when he begins dragging him with even more reckless abandon. He is dropped off there by Injin, who immediately departs after encouraging him to enjoy himself. To at least let him free, Ruto curses him, but Injin leaves without a word. Abruptly, a group of guys donning gas masks emerge from the trucks and begin to march in Ruto's direction. The folks here are quite interested in him, and he wonders if they are people who live here. They approach him eerily with their inquiries, speculating that he may be from the sphere based on his attire. The men abruptly discard their masks as Ruto trembles and tells them that he fell from the sphere. Since they have consistently discovered their dead bodies in the past, they appear to be rather thrilled to see a living sphere inhabitant alongside them. Ruto instantly turns away from them when they become overly interested and start analyzing his face. He believes the men are much friendlier than Jean after they assure him they don't mean any harm and begin to untie him. Ruto quickly discovers that everything was a trap and that he is securely confined inside a vehicle. The men outside remark on how fortunate they are to have a real living Sparite because he will undoubtedly fetch a huge sum, while he wonders what the hell is going on. They discuss how people will go crazy if they locate a rare Sparite and how they pay outrageous amounts of money for its clothing and body parts. The man's commander then informs Ruto that people despise spherites, which is why they are prepared to spend so much money on them. He condemns the inhabitants of the sphere for dumping all of their trash into the earth, causing it to accumulate and contaminate the air, giving rise to monsters. The spherites are deeply resented by those who perished at the hands of the monsters or who were forced to abandon their homes due to the poisonous air and soil. They will go medieval on him once they locate a live one. The leader then chooses to welcome Ruto to the surface by feeding him rotting meat and other spoiled items. He continuously makes fun of him, claiming that since spherites like him don't even come into contact with trash, he is incapable of digesting such stuff. But the man makes the worst mistake of his life when he tries to force a piece of meat down Rud's throat. Rud abruptly bites his fingers, ripping the flesh off and consuming it along with the previously consumed nasty food. Then he begins to consume the decaying food, claiming that it is still perfectly edible and hence not garbage. They have never seen a beast like this, so the man craps their trousers. However, that is only the start. Ruto is upset with everyone for classifying something as useless and rubbish. Furthermore, he will no longer accept it passively. His strength returns, and he escapes his restraints. Then, claiming that there is no way to go back and that Ruto should just relax and accept his new circumstances, he starts dragging him again. Ruto, on the other hand, is adamant about returning to the sphere no matter what. He thinks Injin is concealing the fact that he knows how to get there. He screams at him to tell him everything he knows, or else he would continue to scream until more monsters appear. Injin assures Ruto that he will tell him exactly what kind of place this is because he is furious about it. He leaps outside and lifts the things around him as he lets his energy drop to the ground. Injin observes everything from afar. And the fact that Ruto turned out to be a giver makes him very happy. Someone who, like him, has the ability to give things life and extract their power. Ruto reflects about Reto's statement that caring for objects makes them alive, while lying on the ground. They also treat their people with care. He discards his disguise and seizes the chain that bound him, giving it life and transforming it into a weapon. The guys charge at him, but Ruto simply strikes the ground with his chain, causing them to back off. Since a donor is worthless without their object, their commander instructs them to target the chain. And Ruto is swiftly disarmed by his soldiers. To their complete surprise and Jin's pure joy, Ruto also transforms a tire into a weapon, which is too uncommon even for strong givers. He quickly dispatches the guys before going after their boss, who continues to scream at him and feign urination. However, just as Ruto is ready to hit him, someone intervenes and stops him. Ruto's power diminishes as he abruptly breaks out of his rage. Ruto gets a nosebleed while attempting to determine exactly what he did just now when the tire he was using abruptly turns to dust. According to Injin, his body will eventually become exhausted from using his strength so carelessly. He then expresses regret for putting Ruto through this exam, but he needed to confirm his abilities. He wants Ruto to join the cleaners because they need someone like him to battle the monsters, and in return, he pledges to tell him everything about this planet and his abilities. Ruto claims he doesn't want to join them because that is a bit much for him to handle. We end here. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications for more.